Hey everybody, and welcome back. Um, I don't know how to really try to tread lightly here because a lot of people are going to get triggered. Trigger warning for conservatives. Trigger warning. I want to talk about hypocrisy and hypocrisy over the incident, what happened with Charlie Kirk in the last 24 hours. Just in case anybody has to know where my stance is on Charlie Kirk. I disagreed with him on 95% of his stances. Again, of course, did he deserve to die? Of course not. And I don't know why I have to state that, but I'm going to have to state it because there's going to be people out there that are going to need to hear it, but are still not going to listen. I would want him around so that he can live to see that he's wrong in everything that he believes. Whenever you use violence, you've lost. I don't care how right you are, you lose. You lost. Of course, for those who are watching, you know what happened. He got shot. He was assassinated, and everybody's outraged. Okay, both the left and the right, but more so the rights, and understandable. A lot of people who are really hurting are people that knew him, friends, acquaintances, and they're not. They don't know how to process their emotions, which again is understandable because they lost somebody very tragic. So, my issue is the hypocrisy. Within an hour of his passing, radical left, evil, they must pay. It's their fault. Democrats, everything. No one knew who the shooter was, male, female, if there was multiple assailants, what their background was, what their political background was. And it's already just political left, radical left, because they believe there was only the radical left. Why would anybody else who must love Charlie Kirk because he was speaking truth to power, that's the only reason why someone would shoot him. Guys, to shoot someone like that, there is no ideology or political ideology. Not to say that the person, when they find the person, is going to have one. It's a sick individual. They're sending a message. Whatever message it is for fear. It's not a right or left side. It's just they might have an issue with Charlie Kirk and his viewpoints, but that's just that individual, not the entire side. Anyways, so my issue is this hypocrisy of the radical left is the violent side. Yet, when you look at all these posts online, so I had a little bit of a disagreement, or not even disagreement. I had it out with somebody on my Facebook. This gentleman, right away, posted, I don't give two shits if you are left or right, but if you're cheering for celebrating, rejoicing, or happy about the murder of Charlie Kirk, delete my phone number, my email, my Facebook account. I don't want to know you anymore. Agreed. No one should be celebrating this. I agree with him on this. Everything else on this gentleman on my Facebook, 100% wrong, in my opinion, and we've debated. But this, I will come to the table, have a beer, and say, you're right. Literally the next post, murdered by the radical left for being Christian and fighting for free speech. Rest in peace, Charlie Kirk. What happened to not caring about left or right? Political violence. What do you like? You are the reason why we have political violence in the first place. Assuming this was yesterday, just after he passed away, after he was murdered. How do you know who it was if it was a radical left? you're already demonizing somebody or a group based on no information because of your hatreds. You're no different than the radical left you accuse of doing the same thing. It's all over the internet. Radical left, Democrats, their faults. Even Dave Portnoy, owner of Barstool Sports, on his Twitter, he was complaining about an MSN contributor who did the most milquetoast critique of what was going on with Charlie Kirk. Basically, like, he just made a comment, well, Charlie Kirk and some of his rhetoric promotes violence or anger towards a group of people. So when you start talking like that all the time, eventually it can catch up to you. So he did the most milquetoast explanation. He didn't say he deserved to die. He just says this is the problem we have, is when you start doing rhetoric with anger against a minority group, you're going to get people that are going to be upset. Consequences. That's all. Very milquetoast. Now, David is celebrating his being fired from MSNBC. I thought everybody loved Charlie Kirk because of freedom of speech. Being able to express your viewpoint without being villainized, or just to have a conversation. Again, David Portnoy has made comments about Greta Thunberg. She's on a trip right now, or on a flotilla of ships trying to bring aid to Gaza. And he made a comment where he hopes that the ships get hit by missiles. Really? So you hope they die? They get killed? Yeah. The side of peace and freedom of speech and whatever, I don't know what they think they're doing. So where do we go from here? How are we going to reduce the hatred for one another, especially in the U.S., especially when you got the President of the United States making a comment, his comment on Charlie Kirk just today? He goes, we have to tone down the rhetoric and the hate of demonizing the other side. And then right after saying that, he goes, the radical left and their hatred and blah, 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 and so on and so forth. I'm going to play the video right now so you can hear it for yourself.
It's a long past time for all Americans and the media to confront the fact that violence and murder are the tragic consequence of demonizing those with whom you disagree day after day, year after year, in the most hateful and despicable way possible. For years, those on the radical left have compared wonderful Americans like Charlie to Nazis and the world's worst mass murderers and criminals. This kind of rhetoric is directly responsible for the terrorism that we're seeing in our country today, and it must stop right now. My administration will find each and every one of those who contributed to this atrocity and to other political violence, including the organizations that fund it and support it, as well as those who go after our judges, law enforcement officials, and everyone else who brings order to our country. From the attack on my life in Butler, Pennsylvania last year, which killed a husband and father, to the attacks on ICE agents, to the vicious murder of a healthcare executive in the streets of New York, to the shooting of House Majority Leader Steve Scalise and 3 others, radical left political violence has hurt too many innocent people and taken too many lives.
Even in his speech, he talks about those violent events of Democrats, which they weren't. Maybe have 1 or 2, but the assassination attempt on him in Pennsylvania wasn't a Democrat. He was a registered Republican voter. Yes, he donated to a Democratic party or incumbent or whatever it was, but that doesn't make him a Democrat. There was also a Democratic state lawmaker, Melissa Hortman, and her husband, who were killed in Minnesota. And that gentleman had a list, I think about 54 other Democratic lawmakers he was going to go after. He was Republican. The man charged for attempted assassination of Josh Shapiro, a governor of Pennsylvania, firebombed his house. He was a Republican, Trump supporter. The man who tried to kidnap Nancy Pelosi and assaulted her husband with a hammer was a Trump supporter, Republican. And everybody made fun of Nancy Pelosi's husband, Don Jr., and all his tweets. The January 6th, Trump supporters, Republicans, who tried to hang Mike Pence. Violent there. That's just an example of many from a long list of violent Republican Trump supporters. So what do? How are the Democrats or the radical left the ones that are violent when you've got the President of the United States stoking the flames, just pouring that diesel and gas right on the flames when everybody's emotional right now? I don't know. It's cooler heads need to prevail. I think everybody needs to take a step back. I understand a lot of you conservatives are grieving right now. You put Charlie Kirk on a high pedestal that you thought he was the savior of the U.S. Think all you want. That's your freedom. Disagree with that? But violence begot violence doesn't end well. Let's find out exactly who this person was. Of course, everybody also needs to understand the motive, who doesn't, so we can make sure it doesn't happen again. But villainizing the other side and making them look like they're nothing but animals doesn't help. Anyways, that's it for me. Everybody needs to just take a step back, do your grieving, and conservative guys, like if you hear someone talking about Charlie Kirk and just stating a fact of something that he said, don't get upset. Honor his memory. He was all about freedom of speech. That's one thing I'm going to give him. That's the 4% that I agree with him on. Freedom of speech. He was willing to listen, and so should you. Maybe you should learn from his example and put that anger towards something else. Anyway, guys, take care. We'll talk later.